Welcome to the driver's seat. Chevy has been using the Blazer name since 1969. It was around in various forms. Originally the K5 Blazer, then there was the S10 Blazer, and then there was the Trail Blazer. So it really had many forms, and that's really what people are used to. So when Chevy said, hey, we're bringing the Blazer back, everyone was expecting some kind of body-on-frame, tough SUV, Bronco-like thing. Well, that's not what we have. What we do have is another crossover, just what you wanted. And this one sits nicely between the Equinox and the Traverse. The Traverse is seen as more of a family crossover, has 3 rows, so it's too big for some people. And the Equinox is kind of a starter crossover, and more the size of a CR-V or RAV4, and again also kind of family oriented. The Blazer is designed to be a little sportier, especially the RS that we've been driving here in this red hot color. That's actually the name of it, red hot. And it has the bigger engine. You have 2 engine options. You have a 4-cylinder with 193 horsepower, and the one we've been driving, a 3.6 with 305 horsepower. So plenty of power, 4,500 pounds of towing. Both engines are mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. It's a good car, but it's a little pricey. So starting price is around 30, loaded 50. That's the Premier model. The RS sits right below the Premier. And one of the issues is that to get something like automatic emergency braking, which is standard on the Honda Passport, a direct competitor to the Blazer, you have to spend over $40,000 on the Blazer. So that's been one of the big complaints from other reviewers that have looked at this vehicle. But I've enjoyed driving it. It has a nice seating position. Again, if you're looking at this vehicle from a historic standpoint and you think it's going to pick up where the old Blazer left off, you're going to be disappointed. But if you have an open mind and you're looking for more of a personal, sporty crossover to fit between the 2 vehicles I mentioned, you'll be very much delighted. As you can see from the driver's seat, the Blazer is quite nicely appointed. This is the RS model, which is the sporty model. It does have a slightly stiffer suspension, designed for kind of more spirited driving, and it's somewhat noticeable. We only drove the base model briefly. As you can see, the bits are very similar to what you would expect from a Chevy. A lot of similarities with the Equinox and Traverse. I think Chevy's come a long way with their interiors, but still have a fair way to go, especially if they're going to charge $50,000 for one of these. I think that overall the Blazer is about 10% too expensive. When you look at the competition, I just have more confidence in vehicles like the Passport as well as the Hyundai Santa Fe, and they are less money. So those are the 2 key things. Also the fact that a lot of the safety features aren't included. But as far as driving, it's got a nice high seating point. I think pretty decent visibility, although these A-pillars are massive, but that seems to be par for the course with today's crossovers. These pillars are getting bigger and bigger for safety and design reasons, and they really do obstruct a lot of the view. But overall, and even the B-pillars are pretty big by crossover standards. I like the fake red anodized trim around the vents, and on the vents in the center stack, that's actually how you increase and decrease the temperature. So that's a nice touch. A feature we've seen in other vehicles, more expensive vehicles. So it's nice that it's being trickled down to more mainstream cars. Although it's hard to call a $50,000 vehicle mainstream. The infotainment screen is quite nice. have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's an 8-inch screen. It's a fixed screen, even though it looks like it could retract. But overall, it's a nice, nice touch, and you can see, they've come a long way from, 5-10 years ago. I think it was smart for Chevy to leverage the Blazer name. It's a good name, even if you don't know the history of it. So for those who do know the history, maybe by now they've graduated from needing a true SUV, and they're a little bit older now and just want to cross over. And for new buyers, Blazer sounds good. It's kind of an aggressive name, blazing a trail, and so it works. Other vehicles in the segment: Ford Edge, for example, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Nissan has the Murano, and just to name a few. We've not been getting the most impressive fuel economy. This is the RS model, so it's all-wheel drive, and we're averaging just under 20 miles a gallon with a mix of city and highway driving, so not great. There are other vehicles in the segment that certainly do better. We were getting about 23, 24 with the Honda Passport, for example. This is the V6. If you get the inline 4, you should be getting a couple miles a gallon better, but it's a big vehicle. You can kind of feel the bulkiness of it. A really large dashboard, which I'm fine with, but shorter drivers have complained about some of the visibility, just because it is such a large dash, very similar to what the Highlander, the Toyota Highlander's got a very big dash, and that creates some problems for shorter drivers. But overall, comfortable seating, decent packaging. This segment is very conscious about, or I should say the buyers in this segment are very conscious about safety, and the fact that Chevrolet has not developed a suite of safety features, kind of like the Honda Safety Sense or Honda Sensing. Hyundai has it, Toyota has it. A lot of these car companies have developed this suite of safety features like blind spot monitoring, automatic emergency braking, etc., that they're including on all trim levels as standard. Like Corolla, for example, has standard safety throughout. It has automatic emergency braking. That's an $18,000 car, and the thought that you could spend $40,000 on a Blazer and not get that is a little bit perplexing. Speaking of trim levels, I mentioned the Premier is the top, and you have the RS that we're driving. Those are the top two. Overall, there are 6 trim levels, and again, the pricing is from $30,000 to $50,000. Front wheel drive on the lower trim levels, and the 4-cylinder engine is standard, and then you can option the all-wheel drive and the larger engine as you move up the trim levels. So overall, a good-looking car. I think the best thing the Blazer has going for it are its aggressive looks, its aggressive styling, especially in a color like this, and especially in the RS trim. Very noticeable. Now this is probably going to be maybe 10 or 15% of their sales, so the rest of the models are going to look a little more mainstream, and so be curious to see how they look on the road, if they stand out like the RS. My guess is they probably won't. It's a very crowded segment. Mentioned the Ford Edge, for example. They're very aggressive. A lot of good vehicles in the segment, and it really comes down to the best deal you can get. I think Chevy's going to have to do some serious discounting on this Blazer to get people in it, because it seems to be, when you compare apples to apples on safety features, technology, etc., it appears to be about 10% more expensive than the competition, and I just don't know if a lot of consumers are willing to step up with that kind of coin when they have other viable options. I'm Ron Doran. Thanks for watching. See you next time on The Driver's Seat.